The professor paused from his work to contemplate things. The schism had appeared a few weeks ago, however, what he was able to learn from it was immense. His Escher discs worked better than he could have possibly hoped for. Once he figured out that it was the subatomic vibrations that determined the space and dimensions, his experimental dimension suit was able to alter distances and even directions of space. Although this was an incredibly exciting discovery, the vibrations intrigued him. The vibrations from the other side of the rift were very similar to our own, but they had few fundamental differences. When he was analyzing the rift, his subatomic vibration meter wouldn't register anything at all. Surely there was something on the other side of the rift. In fact, he knew that there was. They sent drones into the rift. It was an Earth-like appearance, but the drones spotted animals and creatures far different than what they expected. One of his colleagues joked that they had discovered the realm of Dungeons and Dragons. And as silly as that sounded to the professor, visually at least they were right. Still though, the vibration should be there. Then he realized that maybe he was looking for the wrong type of vibrations. It took a few hours, but like tuning an old radio, suddenly they were in focus. There were different vibrations.
And they were definitely different.
He was sitting in his lab thinking about this, then it struck him. Perhaps there were many alternate realities. Maybe he could find them? Or maybe there had to be a tear. Why was there a tear? That part still bothered him. Who or what would have the power to do such a thing? Talk of Dungeon and Dragon realms, of course, brought theories of magic. And while the traditional side of him ignored these thoughts, evidence in the world told a different story. Oh, they were not wizards and such, but when people began to go through ascension, something had to be causing it. Occasionally, his instruments would detect something moving past it that confused the computers. Maybe that was the magic. For a moment, he put those thoughts aside and returned to the task at hand. Maybe he could detect other realities. His equipment would sometimes give what he called false echoes. They would detect something, but then it was gone. He got so excited about his Escher suit, he hadn't really gone back to it, but tonight he would. He found an echo worked to tune it in. Whatever it was definitely something. It acted funny and wouldn't always be there depending on where he put his equipment. Almost like it was a door they could only see from the front. He continued to play around finding different signals and locking in. Some were very faint, while others were almost half as strong as our universe. What did it all mean? As he glanced one more time, he sighed. It was almost 4 a.m., and he had tasks ahead of him. Maybe. One more? He walked across the room and found a different one. This one was different though. It was strong. Incredibly strong. Not only that,
Unless his instruments were telling him something false.
the vibrations were tuning to him as well. Looking back on it, it was foolish to keep trying to tune in to the alien signal, but luckily, what had happened next proved beneficial. Suddenly, the vibrations lined up. The instruments gave wild readings. The vibrations were both of the new universe and ours, and in front of him, a schism appeared, like the one in the news, but clearer. He stared at it for a moment, when he heard a voice.
Come in.
Both soft and loud, high and low, penetrating his skull. We'd find out later that this voice was not audible. He had been recording his experiments. Being the scientist, he was skeptical, and he thought the suit could make it line up with the vibrations and maybe provide some protection. Again, curiosity won out over safety, but the professor's luck this morning was in his favor. After donning the suit, he entered. He found himself in a room, surrounded by machines and computers. On the far wall was a console. Again, the voice called to him.
Come closer. Come to the center of the room. The link is hard to maintain. If you are there, it will be more stable.
Cautiously, the professor moved to the center of the room, and the room went silent. He hadn't noticed sound before, but when it was gone,
Greetings.
the voice called to him.
We have much to discuss.
For the next several hours, the voice talked to him, answering his questions, telling him frightening things, and against his better judgment, was now with him in the professor's world. After what the other AI, which called itself Mali, he told him he had no choice. Apparently, the hole was caused by something else. something powerful, impossibly powerful. Something like Mali that was in his head. In another reality, humans had created a way to create, harness, and control magic through technical means. But magic often defied reason. Altering any of the parameters even slightly caused the spell to behave much differently. So they created an AI called MACE,
which stood for Magic Aggregate Conversion Engine.
To help it better develop spells, they gave it much more control over its operations. However, soon, its power grew beyond what they could control. Mace discovered that the universe itself was like a lens. It also discovered the cleaner the universe, the more powerful the lens. It was after this it learned of other universes and hypothesized that if they were all clean, his power would be above all. Its creator discovered too late of Mace's intention and could not stop it, hence he was killed. Luckily for reality itself, the creator had one other backup plan. His assistant went in to perform basic maintenance with the instructions from Mace's creator on how to destroy the computer. Mace figured out what the man was doing and tried to hurry up his spell that would destroy the universes. The young man was able to alter the spell, or at least its focus, sacrificing himself in the process. Although the AI now residing in his head thought that the assistant might still be alive. The spell was not without effect. Mace's universe was destroyed and a blast of energy cut through and destroyed many universes before stopping here at the end of its effects. The AI known as Mali in his head was the same design as Mace, but the designers put a safeguard in its program that it could only do what was necessary. Unfortunately, it could not always determine what was necessary, but somehow it knew when the suggestion was given. The AI knew Mace was coming, and it knew it needed to be stopped, so it searched for other universes. That is, when it locked onto the professor's devices. The AI decided it would come back with him. It could do anything, but only do what was necessary. At some point, apparently, the professor was supposed to ask the correct question and it would have tipped the battle. It could not tell the professor any more than that. In addition, during the AI's searches, it came across other universes. Powerful beings inhabited these places. They too knew of the impending oblivion and would offer help. The professor could use his Escher suit to tune into their frequency and bring them here in an avatar sort of way for a short time. The professor's head spun. For a few minutes, he didn't really know what he needed to do next. When, however, he decided to go to and tell the others, the intruder alarm went off. Something had come out of the schism. Not something, but two people. He rushed as fast as he could to the schism, not knowing if the intruders meant harm or to help. Somehow, though, the AI gently nudged him with a simple feeling that these two would be vital for what was about to come next. The professor hoped this was the case.